Hello, this is American Soccer Being Weird here on Morning Kicker. I'm Robert. He's Jason. We want to touch on a kind of a, I don't even know what the mood of this article is after reading it. But Matt Crocker, one of the big wigs of the United States Soccer Federation, is trying to understand the youth soccer system still. He was profiled by athletic senior writer Jeff Reuter. And he's really trying to get his head around it. The story articles notes that he kind of had a listening tour, trying to figure out the grievances and whatnot.
This is a Henry Bushnell joint. I shout out to Jeff Reuter, who does great work, but this is a Henry Bushnell joint.
Excuse me, forgive me.
Proper credit what it's due. Very mumuch encourage you to read this story if you are an athletic subscriber, which is the only thing I keep. One of the few, whatever. I have an electric subscription exactly for this kind of stuff. And Henry has just joined the Athletic, and he's dropping these long pieces on deep dive stuff. What's the upshot here? That Matt Crocker is confused? Because we're all confused. We're all lost. I think maybe what I take away from this most, Rob, I get where Matt is coming from. Like I think we've all had some issues so far with Matt's leadership. Right, the rehiring of Greg Berhalter is number one on the list of crimes for a lot of people around American soccer. U.S. men's national team fans, how could you have done that? He is clearly a methodology guy, right? He's clearly a guy that likes to, do research and hook guys up to machines to figure out what their, what their talents, whatever he does. Taking long tests. I think there was like testing done for the guys who were up for the U.S. men's national team job. And so he's clearly a guy who's very methodical in his approach. And I think that's frustrating him in this because what he's seeing is obviously it's kind of obvious. So you're taking on a job that is much bigger than the job in England that he had, right? Just about geographically, just population, like whatever. Like it's an insane thing to think about, but think about this. There are probably more soccer fans in America than there are in almost any country in the world outside of China and India. But that's just because of population, not because we care about the game at the same level as England or France or Germany or Spain. We just have 350 million people. So we have this vast landscape of things. And Matt is like, oh, this is like a Gordian knot. Like, what do you do with this? And he, instead of like what he said in the story is, sort of instead of dictating, which has kind of always been the U.S. soccer way, here's your curriculum. Do these things. You're required to teach this. And people will be like, screw you. I know soccer. I'm not doing your stuff. I don't want to follow that. He's saying, let's just kind of nudge in certain areas. Let's not dictate. Let's be a little softer with our touch. Is that a takeaway from this?
Yeah, the article by Harry Bushnell describes that Matt Crocker's approach has been a listening tour and trying to hear as many voices from the youth soccer system from across the country. They called it a listening tour. And kind of some of his takeaways. This is kind of why I wanted to talk about this, as this quote just to show how far away he is from really getting his arms around it.
But that's the thing. Will he ever? And again, it's not. I don't want to. It's never a throw up your hands and say, we can't do it. Like, it's never like, oh, this is so big of a problem that we shouldn't even try. I never want to get to a place of we shouldn't even try.
Well, but he says 95% of this, he said 5% of this job will be easy to change and tweak, but 95% is a beast that I can't even ... I'm only just trying to beginning to get my head around it. This is something that I've never experienced.
Yeah. And I think, so here again, this are the two sides of the coin, right? Like, we as soccer fans want our country to reach its potential. We want our country to reach its potential. Now, that potential is sort of unknowable, except we have all these kids playing soccer and we have this big country and we imagine that you should be able, isn't this always the trope? Like, how can we not pick 11 soccer players to go out and beat Trinidad and Tobago? This is insane. Like, why can't we do that? But this is obviously, as Matt is presenting, such a complicated problem, such a or complicated scene of soccer in America that it's never like if you drill down. Sometimes we have this fantasy too. Like, if we had a California national team, would they be better than the U.S. men's national team? I think it's a reasonable question, right? Or New
There's
Jersey.
An argument to be had there, yeah.
Yeah, New Jersey, right? If you just pick players from New Jersey, could you put together a team that is as good as the team we put out that represent the entirety of the United States of America? And like, it kind of seems silly, like, oh, but you wouldn't have Pulisic or you wouldn't have players from Texas or what. But in terms of the culture and and we talk like we're getting ready to go to New Mexico and go to Albuquerque and celebrate a specific version of American soccer culture from a fan perspective, not from a player perspective. But imagine that, the player thing, just variations spread across the country. Like, I appreciate that Matt Crocker is saying what is true, that this is huge, that this is complicated, that it's not easy to get your hands around, rather than have somebody come in and say, "Man, I don't know how to I don't like I know exactly what we should do." Like, there have been plenty of charlatans in American soccer who have said, "Oh, I know exactly what we should do. We should do X, Y, or Z. Apply this standard, and we'll be world champions." Project 2010 was that. Right, and no disrespect to Carlos Queiroz or anybody who worked on that. It was ambitious, and it was an attempt, but it was never realistic. Like, nobody thought really we were going to get to 2010 and win a World Cup, but we thought we had to have a plan. We had to organize this, and man, I don't know, like, what is the answer when you are dealing with so much diversity in this?
So, I mean, okay, so the travails that Matt Crocker is facing is the scope and the size of the country. Every single, like, the part of the article says that so one could visit every single youth association in the UK within a 2-week period. He's been doing it for 7 months and hasn't gotten to nearly everybody yet. And every single location has their own motivation. So there's different sanctioning bodies, different leagues, and then different leagues within the same regions sanctioned by different groups. And so there is not only a tangled web on these locations, but the web is huge and wide spanning from
Look,
coast to coast.
and again, like, there's sort of like, what is to what end would you change anything? And obviously you can't, right? You can't force these clubs and leagues to all pull in the same direction. You can't force them to do it. The best you can do is suggest. And part of the story, at the end of the story, the kicker here is actually about this listening tour, but Crocker presenting a year ago something called the US Way. The US Way is a shared philosophy, a strategy, and a practical toolkit to enable excellence at every level of the game and for us to win. It talks about how 95% of player development happens within the club system, and that those are the critical environments. And then there's 3 prongs to this: world-class development pathways and environments with talent ID and youth national teams, etc. Shared and scaled infrastructure, which involves the training center that they built in Atlanta, a digital platform, a unified youth calendar, and professional development for the entire ecosystem. And then formal classes, formal courses, technical and administrative staff, community building, etc. But if you read the article, there are people who are directly involved, including Mike Colina, the CEO of U.S. Club Soccer, and a U.S. Soccer board member, who said, this is not a plan. It's a presentation. It's not a plan. Like, words on paper is lovely, he says, but unless you can operationalize it, unless you can get the buy-in necessary, that's it. It really isn't going to have any impact. So, what is your capability here? Like, how far can you push this to make U.S. soccer American soccer all pull in the same direction? Now, there are also people who would say things are changing. Matt Crocker has brought new enthusiasm and a new approach. And even if we're not sure that this is a plan, they've been proactive. They've been communicating. So perhaps this is the first step, right? Perhaps this is just sort of like, we're not going to jump from here to winning a World Cup in 4 or 8 years. But what Matt Crocker wants to do is get us talking and moving in the same direction. Again, if everybody feels like they are involved in this, because that's what soccer people, and really anybody who has their little corner of the world, does, they protect it. And if you come in and say, well, we want to do stuff to your corner, no, screw you. It's my corner. I'm in charge here. So how do you get those people to say, okay, fine, I want to engage with you. I want to be involved. I want to see us as an American soccer nation succeed. And that means giving up just a little bit of my control, or accepting that you're going to influence the direction of the thing I am doing.
At the very least, Crocker is acknowledging that it hasn't gone right before, because United States Soccer Federation hasn't always admitted mistakes or a bad approach. And I know from my experience in youth soccer, the only time you hear anything from the federation is when they, make some decree. And I think in the article they describe it as a lightning bolt from above comes down and says deal with these changes and moves on, and isn't necessarily a supportive or receptive organization. So Elise Crocker is accepting that feedback and acknowledging that. But beyond all those challenges of the size and the conflicting interests and financial motivations of various organizations, leagues, and whatnot, but he is also challenged with having a soft touch of ingratiating this new approach, and these, because there is new decrees on the youth game being set down from above now. But so he is trying to instill change with a softer touch, with the intermingled web of interests still above. So it is quite the task ahead of him. Not one that I would like, but one I would love to see him succeed, is because you feel like we have this untapped ability or untapped population. And there's no doubt, and I don't think anyone even tries to doubt that there's players and development opportunities filling through the cracks. But as part of the title for this article says it's an astronomical ask.
Yeah.
Of
Astronomical.
both astronomical of both the folks trying to lead it and the folks on the ground trying to implement it and produce a top player. I think an interesting side note was that the top 150 players on the women's side is slowly trickling down, and according to this, never produced a top 50 player. So
on the men's game. Yeah. That, I mean, I don't know. Nobody disputes that. It's just a matter of, is it possible to, again, through the direction of U.S. soccer, is it possible to get there? Or is this just going to have to be sort of a chaos approach? Is American soccer just always going to be a chaos approach to this? And if we do get there one day, it's going to be because the culture improves on its own, not because U.S. soccer is sort of dictating how to build players.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And we will, of course, follow this as, we go along our timeline in the development of American soccer. But that about does it for the show. But I do want to re-announce again our big announcement that we led the show off with. September 13th, myself, Jason Davis, and Morning Kick Round will be live on location for the 6th edition of the Meow Wolf Night, New Mexico United's big game. They unfurl a specialty jersey. They have a huge carnival and a whole day full of festivities, a whole weekend full of festivities. We'll be getting on site there on Friday, doing our Friday show. We'll be at the party where fans meet staff and have a party with the new shirts. And then Saturday, the main event, we will be doing a live show from Isotopes Park on September 13th. We're going to have lots of great guests, going to talk to a lot of great people, and hopefully feature lots of great costumes and feature this unique event in American soccer to the best of our ability.
Yeah, absolutely. Tune in. First of all, if you can be in Albuquerque, come see us. But if you can't, tune in to see just how much taller Rob is than me, because I think that's going to be one of the subplots of this event, is that Rob is so much taller than I am, and it's going to be quite the visual. All right. But I mean, I'm obviously so excited. Just to reiterate, what we need from you is just to share the word, just to spread this out, to let people know something cool is happening in Albuquerque on September 13th, that we're going to be there for Meow Wolf Night, that you're going to get on the scene live stream of the event, talking to the owner of New Mexico United. They're working on a stadium in Albuquerque, Rob. So hopefully we get some insight. We get to talk to Peter and the people over there about the stadium plans that they have, because what stadiums are roots in the ground for American soccer teams, and we need roots in the ground.
Yeah, we don't want American soccer to just be blown away by the wave of a pen or anything like that. And, having infrastructure such a stadium is so important. So many going up around the country, including where we will be live on September 13th, Isotopes Park, live and on location for Meow Wolf Night. Can't wait for that. Only 9 days away, Jason. Can you believe it? 9 days away. We will be in New Mexico.
9 days. I got a lot of work to do. I gotta get going. I gotta get all this stuff together, Rob. We gotta get out of here.
All right. So can't wait to do that. Thank you so much for the opportunity. New Mexico United. Can't wait to be there for Meow Wolf Night. Do we have anything before we want to go here today?
No, I don't. I believe that's it. Luis Suarez, ban him. Yeah. Congratulations, Seattle Sounders. Collin County, what league are you going into? All these are. Oh, okay. We do want to actually get to one other thing. I forgot about this. Thank you, Rob. You reminded me now. We do want to highlight all of our members.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody.
Channel. Yeah, David R., Todd Brooks, Eddie Hooper, Thomas Donnelly, Spencer Doherty, Tim Weaver, Shiny Blue Bead, Faith and Logic, Seeing Red, the New York Soccer Podcast, Alan Jacobson, Crispy Dew, 44, A Homeless Shoe, Pam at 53, Chris Sow, Jay Hunt, Ron Bandish, Brian Toto, Alex Murch, Zachary Kaiser, Tom Opp, Aaron Pimentel, or Pimentel, Aaron, you tell me how to say that properly, Ryan, Parker Smith, Tulsa Mario, Pinzoni 343, Soccer Night in Detroit, Harry Austin, Luke Zagorski, the DK in PHL, Angus McWhorter, Mike Thomas, Nate Osika. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can't thank you enough. And we will be back live on Friday right here. Same place, same time. And until then, everybody, enjoy your soccer.